summed up in the word attitude. Be faithful, be teachable. Older, experienced people have a lot to teach you. Jesus was a servant. Yes, you've got to have vision, but you've got to live and grow where you are now. Some jobs will really stretch you, but look at what's being built in you and ask what you can bring, not just what's in it for me. It's about active service, and humility goes a long way. And ultimately, promotion comes from the Lord. That's a biblical promise. So, there have been some major defining moments in my life to get me from trying to pick what I was going to do at university to where I am now. And I'm going to go through them just really quickly. But what I want to show you is that I couldn't have planned this, and by just walking with God and staying open to Him, the Holy Spirit can drop stuff on you just like that. And they're things that absolutely change the course of what you're doing. So, number one, I was sitting at my desk one afternoon working as an engineer, and I thought, God, I don't want to just earn money, get a flash house and flash possessions. I want something more. He took me at my word, and within 5 weeks I was at Bible college, which I hadn't thought about doing. So I was here at MTC under Ian Scarlett, and that was great. Point number two, every time I came to church and Mike talked about Guatemala and his relationship with Pastor Harold over there, I got this really weird feeling and I didn't know what it was. And then at MTC, I realised that there was a course that meant I could go to Guatemala as part of my course. And so I went with Mike and Jeannie, and that was amazing. And while I was there, I found out that they had a community development agency called Hands of Love, or Manos de Amor. And within 3 months of going there, I was living there. It just happened like that. And I came home, strange thoughts about going back there, went to Mike and Jeannie, said, I've been thinking about this. They said, what took you so long? We knew that 3 weeks ago. And I went. Halfway through, I came home for 2 months. I was working at church, had this weird feeling. I think I'm going to be Mike's assistant. Thought, that's nuts. Why would I do that? Not my job. He's not asking me. Fifi's doing it. Just kind of went, okay, push that to one side. Mike walks past my desk, says, what are you doing at the end of next year? And I'm saying, I don't know. And he said, I need an assistant. Think about it. And it was just like, God just puts these things there. And I knew that's exactly what God wanted me to do. And it was amazing. I learned so much, and he's such a gracious man to work for. So I'm back, I'm working at church, don't know what's coming next. Get a phone call, it's my ex-boss, and he just says, the guy who was your manager is retiring, I want you to do the job. And you don't understand, like when you leave your career and go off to do random things, you're not actually quite sure how God's ever going to bring that all together. And that was putting me in a position that if I had stayed here and done everything that my logical mind would have said, I probably wouldn't have got. And God just opened it like that. And so I'm back working as an engineer, and in September last year, I'd been home from Guatemala for almost 2 years, and I was saying, well, Lord, I don't have a 5 or 10 year plan anymore, and it's feeling a bit static. What do we do now? And I was really restless, and I came to the Magnify conference, and I was just asking God, what do I do? And I said to him, I don't need to hear this from a man, I need to hear it from you. And so the speaker walked past me at the altar call, and when he got behind me, he said, you don't need a 5 or 10 year plan. And I think the thing was, I told God I didn't want to hear it from the person, so he waited till he was behind me to say it. You don't need a 5 or 10 year plan, you just have to be obedient and seek God's kingdom. And I was like, okay, there's the answer to my question. But then God just did another one of his things, and one night after our life group, Andrew and I were just talking, and he started sharing with me his heart about wanting to go overseas and do a master's, and it just absolutely resonated with something inside me. And the next thing, it wasn't his vision anymore, it was mine. Thanks for that. So normally if you're planning to go and do something like that, it takes about 2 years of planning. I had less than a year, and I just knew God was saying just go for it. And you would normally apply for about 6 different schools. I had time to apply for one. I just went hard and researched all these places and just said, Lord, you're going to just have to point me. And he said, the London School of Economics. I filled in all the application forms. It was just nuts. And I was sitting there going, if I don't get this, it's the only one I've applied for. And sure enough, I got accepted. And it's just been an ongoing journey like that. But God was just there going, yep, that's it. Yep, that's it. And you have to put feet to it. It's hard work. You have to put in the long hours and fill in the forms and do the research. But ultimately, the Holy Spirit is a really good communicator. And if you make yourself open to him, he is not going to let you miss it. He's not going to let you miss where he wants you to be. I'm sure my 10 minutes is almost up. So, how do I know it's the right thing to do? Well, it just, as I said, it kind of resonates inside you. And you will have seen 2 book covers going up behind me. And I was explaining this to my flatmate Alyssa today. And she was like, yeah, that is weird.